Welcome to Ngosi Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Welcome to Ngosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice. Lead from within. Over to you, Carol Ann. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
I'd love to. Thank you. And good afternoon from London, UK. And as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support soul-driven entrepreneurs in becoming more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking and a clearing of that frog in the throat, an unlocking of the writer within, and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So I'm Carol Ann, the writing facilitator. Lovely to be here today, Nonsa.
Thank you so much, Carol Ann. So our topic today is how do you deal with anxiety? And there's so much that is going on, mostly in United Kingdom right now. People are really, really stressed. Petrol and food shortages, petrol shortages. The market has gone wrong. Stock market has gone wrong. I don't know whether you've seen it. It's just so much anxiety that is going on. So I just want you to explain to our audience, why did you choose this topic? I just realized I have a bruise there.
Oh.
I banged my face on the chair when I was coming on live.
No. Oh dear. Yeah, and things like that happen when you're a bit anxious, you're trying to get things done and you're not present. And so you're not present to what's around you. And so that's just a consequence of anxiety. And as you say, there's a lot going on, even now, sort of as we've been through lockdown all this time, and there's still the fears going around, and also the enforcement of vaccines and in other countries where it is becoming enforced. And so there's a lot of anxiety around and worry, and people going back to work. And maybe, some of our listeners, maybe this is applies to you. Again, going out and about, there's anxiety, having been in for so long, moving out there and in amongst people. But it is part of us anyway. There is a natural way of things that we do get anxious about when we're not sure about something, we're concerned, we're worried. And so I think it's just all heightened at the moment, especially with the petrol. And although I was looking at one site today, a post, someone was saying, oh no, all the petrol stations are open around here now. It's like, well, it was that moment of madness. We were told, it's going to be shortage. So everybody gets, oh my goodness. And it drives it. So it is that, how do we deal with that? How do we recognize it? Because it's got a healthy purpose to it, but it's when you allow it to become unhealthy and it's not serving you. So you need to be able to work with it so that it can serve you rather than it working against you. So I just thought it would be a great topic to explore. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I like it when you say the anxiety of the vaccine. Basically, there's a third one that is coming in, the booster.
Yep.
Apparently, it's going to help people out. So there's a booster that is coming out. It's going to send people out of control. Because I'm not sure whether basically there's a guy that I was talking to. He does some research with the coronavirus in the hospital. He was saying the problem is some countries, they have no control because the border gates are open, so which is going to affect other countries that have control. And also the countries, the poor countries, the rich countries are going to have to donate the vaccine to the poor countries so that the level of the virus can be like as normal as the flu. So he was like, it's going to take another year for basically for everything to go back to normal. But he said, he said that for him, he has seen a big changes with everything with the virus. There's a big change that he's seen while they're doing the research. So I was like, but now the stock market, we shouldn't worry about the virus. It was like the stock market is gone bad. It was like, I was like, it's those are the things that brings anxiety, because the economy is very, very important to us. So if this virus is attacking us both sides, economy wise, and people are gonna worry, the businesses, people who have businesses like myself, I'm gonna worry. So what advice, Carol Ann, can you actually give somebody out there who are really worried? I know, yes, you mentioned that make it work for you, not worrying, but some people right now, businesses are being born. People are getting creative. Yeah, businesses are actually being born right now during the pandemic.
They're being what?
They're being born.
Yes.
Born. Yeah, new
Yeah.
businesses, startup.
Yep.
Mostly children are getting creative. I know there are some children during lockdown, basically, like my daughter and her friends, they were watching TikToks. And the TikToks, there are places where they teach you videos that teach you how to make money. And they were making money during lockdown. So
yeah. Well, I know my two eldest grandchildren have started up businesses last year through lockdown.
Yeah.
And they're still flourishing, and I think it's about, you were saying about people worrying. Worry doesn't really get you anywhere. You're worrying about what might happen, not what has happened. And it's about bringing yourself into the present and recognizing, well, what can I do right now? What is within my control that I could do, rather than worrying about what might be happening in the future, where it's going to go, because that isn't going to serve you at all. And I know sometimes it's easier said than done, because your mind just goes boom, out of control. All sorts of scenarios come and you can feel it in your body. So it's really becoming aware of, well, what is it I'm worrying about? What is it that's causing me to be anxious? And maybe just write it out. Write all your worries out, all the concerns. How is it feeling? How is it making your body feel? And then you could do something else. Go for a walk. Go and have a shower. Go and get a blank piece of paper. Hold the pen in it like this, in a power grip, and just scribble with the whole of your arm. I said this before. And then in the other hand, you've got two hands, power grip, and just scribble. And then write down again. What are my thoughts? What are my worries? What am I thinking now? And notice what's shifted within your body. How does, write down, well, how's my body feeling? And then focus on, well, what could I do? What could I be focusing on? So it's a way of helping you to shift your focus, because it's acknowledging what is and then shifting your focus to, well, what is now possible, what you could do. So that's one thing that you could do, and which would just help you to ease that worry. Take each moment as it comes, not just necessarily each day. It's about taking each moment as it comes and being in the moment. So I'll probably share some other things as we progress through the talk, but that's just one thing that you could do. So what are your thoughts, Nom? So what do you hear there?
I actually agree with you, Carol Ann, because when you are stressed, basically you need to find something to shift your focus, basically to focus on something else, or focus on helping somebody, or basically take some time out. Like if you're worried about something, and have somebody to talk to, because sometimes what I've realized is people, they don't like to talk. They don't like to talk to people about what they are going through. Find somebody to talk to if you're worried about something, or find a coach. There are so many therapists that offer free coaching. Even at the doctor's GP in UK, there is loads of free coaching. Like if you're going through something, just try to deal with it and take some time out. If there is something that is actually bringing anxiety, take some time out. And without blaming yourself, because sometimes we tend to blame ourselves, that I'm going through this because I'm stupid, because I'm this, because I didn't do this, because we find a list to actually blame. But it actually is nice when you actually face the problem and say, this is the situation, this is what I'm going through. And just it will give you a chance to actually find a way to deal with it. And when you talk to somebody as well, problems are meant to share. Sometimes people don't like to share problems, but you have to share them with the right people, obviously, not just everybody. And eat well as well. It does help with balancing when you eat well, making sure that regardless of what you're going through, never stop eating. Just limit everything that is every bad habit, like alcohol, all these things that makes the anxiety, that makes you feel that you're okay, but they trigger, because you end up having panic attacks. Some people, when they're stressed, they take alcohol, they take all these what do you call it, a cigarette, they smoke. They think it makes them feel better, but it doesn't. So try to get enough sleep as well. It's very, very important to actually, if you can't sleep, go to the doctors. Try not to have some people try to have an easy way out with the medication, going for medication. But meditating actually is a self-healing. Try to use things that can heal you natural. Like I basically, sometimes when I'm going through some things like businesses, customers, like you have customers start annoying and screaming. So I meditate and find a good meditation and just meditate. It's self-healing. It does help. Try to not to get into too much medication. Basically, I've never taken anxiety medication. The reason why is when I'm actually stressed, I do breathing exercises. Breathing exercises, it takes out the energy that is not wanted, and it brings the energy together that is wanted. So if you do breathing exercises and meditating, when you're meditating, try to do the exercises and just try to be alert, like be in the moment. And you always talk about don't try to make every situation wrong, because people try to, the moment you blame yourself, that whatever is going on, it takes over, it takes control. So just be in the moment and be aware. And me, I have a stick, I have books that I crush when things are not going wrong, and I pray. I use scriptures, and I put God to court, because they say anything you ask in my name. I bring the judgment and say, this is the judgment. Why am I going through this? And then in that moment, you find like I feel better because I'm able to communicate. I don't go to people. I have a few people that I talk to, which are coaches when I have problems, but I don't go to people that make me feel sorry for myself, because the moment I go to somebody that will say, poor you, Nomsa, you don't have to go through this. That's a big mistake. I'm just going to hang in there. So I like to get out of the situation.
Oh, absolutely. It's actually, did you say it's being aware?
Yeah,
You know, it's noticing when you're in it, because sometimes you can get so in there that you're not aware. And again, it's then recognizing your body posture, because very often you end up hunched up, and there's tension here, but your whole body posture is different. So recognize when you're hunching over, and just shift your body posture. Look up to the sky. You know, immediately you start opening up. And actually, if you do look up to the sky, you're actually accessing the visual cortex. And that immediately shifts you out of your emotions. Because when you're down here and you're looking down, you're in you're in your emotions. And that's what you're accessing immediately. As soon as you look up, you shift yourself out of them. So just that simple action can help shift the emotional aspect of it. But as you say, it is being present to it, and be in the moment. How can you be in the moment? It's like so many people don't know how to be in the moment. And so there's one way of actually being in the moment. We've got 3 senses. I wouldn't say we've got 5, but there's 3 that can work with. The first one is just your hearing. Just say, well, what do I hear? Become aware, well, what do I hear? And name it. What else do I hear? And name it. And what else do I hear? And then you could go, well, what do I see? And name that. What else do I see? And name that. And what else do you see? And name it. So you're really seeing it. And you could do it a few more times for both of those. But then the other one is just start moving your body. Touch something. What do you feel? Actually get the sense of touch. Moving your body. Move your hands. What do I feel? How do my hands feel? What does this chair feel like I'm sitting in? Touch something. Get that sense of touch. Well, what does this feel like? And what does this feel like? And become very present. And can you feel the difference having done that? There's a stillness. There's a silence that is present. And then just notice how you feel within yourself when you really are present. and in the moment. So that's some way of actually being in the moment. And even if you only just did one of those, just the hearing one, that is in itself is enough. I've done that myself. Well, what do I hear? And gone through that until I can feel myself coming into the moment. So it is a skill, noticing when you're actually being anxious, because sometimes it may be a way of life for you, and getting more anxious, it's that things happening that you just then not become aware of it. I don't know if you've heard like the frogs in water in a saucepan, and you heat it up. They don't recognize it gets hotter and hotter, so they don't jump out of it. If you don't recognize that there's a level of anxiety within you to start with, the situation could just get worse and you get more and more anxious. And before you know it, you're in a full-blown concern, depression, a state. So before it gets to that, recognize it. And so things like feeling on edge, are you a bit fidgety? Are you restless? Is there sort of difficulty with your breathing? Difficulty to concentrate. You start something and then it's off something else, and is there that sense of dread? Maybe you can feel it within you. There's a sense of something. Become aware of it. Again, it's that not just with the touch, but what does your body feel? What are you feeling inside? And maybe fatigue, dizziness, headaches. There's a whole list of things, but those are certain ones that you could become aware of, because that fidgetiness shows anxiety. And for me, I recognize when I'm picking or biting at the skin around my nails, I'm going like this, and I'm thinking, it took me a while to realize it and think, and I'd make them bleed. And I thought, hang on a second, there's something I'm clearly anxious about. And I started to then stop and look and become aware of the anxiety and start to do something about it. So it's not quite as bad. And sometimes I don't do it as much, but when I do start to do it, it's like, oh, come on, wake up, become aware. So yeah, what you were saying, Nonsa, that's step one to helping yourself is to be aware. But again, getting a coach, getting somebody to support you. If you find it hard to do that, reach out. Reach out. We're here, and there are coaches, or even, if you want to go to your doctor and ask for support there, whichever feels that works for you. So that's something you can do. But, I can hear a he's calling. Where's the anxiety here? Is that, I don't know, is that me or is that you, Nonsa?
What's happening?
I could hear like something going off, an alarm or a call or something. Never mind.
Okay, I was muted, so it can't be me. My phone is just there; it's not ringing.
No, it wasn't you. Okay, but it's like it's hearing that alarm, that bell, that whatever. Your body gives you that alarm, the anxiety. Explore it, understand it. Where is it coming from? And then deal with it. And yes, talk to somebody, because actually sitting in yourself and trying to sort it out, it's like, can you see the scrunched upness that is here, and the tension? That isn't going to help you shift the anxiety. So we've already explained a few ways. What else is there about anxiety that you'd like to share, Nomsa?
Like you, sometimes doing exercises, I find that myself, I never stop. Like, even though I left football, I always do exercises Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday is my resting day. I find that when I go and do exercises, basically when I'm stressed with something, I run quick. The journey that would take me 1 hour, it would take me like half an hour, because I'm so frustrated and I want to basically I just run and run and run, and when I get home I feel good. Doing exercises, it is good for you as well. So you have to physically be active as well, because if you are not physically active, the chemicals that you are actually, when you start worrying, that means you are producing those chemicals to your from your brain to your brain. And but if you take a physical look after your physical well-being, and it makes a big difference. And using your beliefs is that you have to create the habit, because like myself, if I look at myself where I was 10 years ago and where I am now, I feel that basically I ask God to crucify my flesh, because I don't have time to worry about things that I cannot change. Like yesterday, I was awake all night. My daughter, she's asthmatic, and she's had a cold for a week now. She has not been to school. She went to school on Monday and Tuesday. She was off Monday, went to school Tuesday, and then she came back worse. So she was, yes, last night she got really worse. And I just, basically her bed is not comfortable because there's too many things in her bed. So I just moved her to her sister's bedroom, and I took her sister to my bedroom, and I just lay down there. We're sitting there all night, and we rang 111, and she spoke to the doctor, and the doctor was like, do you want to come down, or it's 40 minutes from where we are, or do you want to wait for a GP to open? I was like, we want to wait, provided she's going to cope with this waiting. So we decided to wait, and she was fine. We waited, and when they opened 8 o'clock, we rang the doctors, and they were really quick giving us appointment. We were there by 9. So I'm basically, I've learned that there's some things that I cannot change in life. There are some things that I can change. So those things that I cannot change, they are not my problem to worry, because the Bible says, come to me with all your burden. So I say, God, these are all my burden. I'll try not to ignore them, but I say, this is, you say, come to me with everything that you have. This is the problem. So how can I solve it? And can you basically take over this problem? I hand it over to the higher power, which is God, because I know that using my beliefs, it helps me basically to become who I want to become. And basically, when I was going through divorce, my ex turned around and said, Nomsa, you don't really care. I was like, I do care, but the problem is there are some things that I cannot change, even if when I'm in pain inside. If I cry and show people my vulnerability, my stress, my this, but if I'm in pain and I surrender myself to God and say, God, this is what I'm going through now, I basically going to succeed. I have a chance to climb that mountain and be okay, and accepting things that this is the situation that I'm going through. And after, sometimes when you talk to people that are around you, sometimes they can judge you and what. And after, he was like, I actually like your attitude as a person, because you are a fighter. And I was like, you don't take no for an answer. Basically, when you're doing something, basically, when I'm doing something, I remember walking to this school. It was so expensive, and I wanted my daughter to go to that to that school. And I said to I'm asking his dad, and I was like, there is no way that you guys, I'm paying for 2 houses. There's no way that I'm going to afford this school. I was like, God will take control of the situation. And I said, as a black woman, I walked in and I said to this woman, to the head teacher, I want my daughter to come to this school. Could you please? And she was like, this is the fees. And I was like, could you please give her the exams? See what you can do, how much I can pay, and how you can help me. And she gave her the exams. And my daughter passed the exams. And they did this. They're supposed to see whether, because she's coming from a public school, whether. And the head teacher was like, I love your daughter. She's actually in the same level with the children, because I knew my daughter was smart and I believed in her as well. And her dad, the poor the father, is being dragged down. And I was like, if we're going to do this, you've got to be here. And he was like, I don't think Nomsa, you thought this through. I was like, yes, I have. With God, I have. So I remember, and the head teacher was like, yeah, I'll take her. And this, and I was like, okay. And she went to school. And I remember my friends, they were like, why would you take your child to a private school instead of you could get a big house? I was like, just leave me alone. God says that's what he wants me to do. And this is the decision that I want. And since that day, and my ex was like, Nomsa, you're completely bonkers. And I was like, sometimes you have to try. And some people have to say no to you. When the head teacher had said no to me, and I would have said, okay, but she saw the determination that I was like, give my daughter a chance. Give her a chance, just give her the exams, and then we can discuss it later. Anything else, if she fails the exams, we can stop talking about it. But give her the exams. She gave me the days, she's gonna have to come and take the exams, and my daughter just did the exams. She did everything, and she was like, I'm happy. She can start on this day. And I was like, thank you very much. Hallelujah, God. Is knowing when you believe, if you have a problem and you believe in yourself, forget about people that are negative. You have to be in that present moment, know where you want your life to be. And it doesn't matter. Sometimes there are some situations where we need you to get out of that situation. And there are no negotiations. When you need to get out of the situation and you are stressed, for me, there are no negotiations. You have to get out. If you are in an abusive relationship, you are in anxiety, or you have friends who are bullying you, or you have family members that are bullying you, you are in a work that is bringing you anxiety, you are unhappy. There are some work that sometimes God works in different ways. God will use people at work to bully you so they can take you to the next level. So you'll have to realize as an individual where your life needs to be. Because sometimes we might be at Ngozi talk shows, and sometimes one of the speakers might be bullying somebody, maybe to make that person work hard and to get promotion. So you have to evaluate your situation. So if your situation says study hard and let the bullies be the bullies and get closer to the owners, to the CEOs, get closer to the managers. So because if you are not being bullied by the manager or the CEO, or if you're being bullied by the manager, you can tell them to get lost and do the work yourself and get promoted. And there are some situation where you have to deal with the situation as an individual. But there's some situation where if you need to get out, please do. Don't say, I watch, because the talk show, they say you have to live in the present moment and you have to do this. There are some situations where there are no negotiations. You have to get out, because if you stay in that moment, knowing that that moment it does not serve you, you end up with long-term illness, long-term mental health problems, long-term basically missing out on your life, your destiny. Everybody has a destiny. Over to you, Carol.
I mean, what I'm hearing is being a stand for what you want.
Yeah.
So, but to be able to do that,
yeah,
you've got to be clear in your own mind what you want.
Yeah, what you want.
And then, and actually be a stand for that, and not worry, because the worry and the anxiety just takes you away from that and stops you moving forward with it. But if you just be a stand for it, and as I was saying earlier, you just say, right, well, what can I do? How can I address this? What would help me to move forward with this? And that's what I was hearing you say with your daughter. You know, she needed to sit the exam, have the interview with the headmistress, have that conversation, and go from there. But it was that stand in, give her the opportunity to show, and so we can have a conversation and move forward from there. And there was no point in worrying about whether she got a place or not, because that's the future that you don't know. But you'll stand for her getting the place somewhere that would be the best for her, whether it's there or somewhere else. But if that's what you're standing in, then that school was clearly the best place for her, because the lady, the head teacher said yes. And it is taking away that emotional attachment that it's got to be this, rather than the best place that will serve my daughter. It will help her to get the best out of her, and give her the best experience. And so it is actually looking at that bigger picture, looking at it from another perspective, so that you're not, again, entrenched in the detail of where you're at. It's just, again, opening up and again, shift that focus, but be a stand. But how can you get to know what you want? That is a great question, because that, again, can throw people into anxiety. I don't know what I want. I really don't know what I want. Notice the agitation, notice the anxiety, and breathe. And just, you said about doing some breathing. There is an actual brain gym activity called belly breathing, which is beautiful, and I often do that, because if you notice, our anxiety is very often in our stomach. We hold that tension in there. So what you can do is just put your hands either side of your abdomen and imagine that there's a feather here, and you're going to take a deep breath in, and then you're going to blow out in little puffs, as if to keep that feather floating in the air until you've got no breath left, and you automatically will take a breath. So you're focusing on blowing the air out. So you take a deep breath and then puff the air out. So you go like this. And what you're doing with your hands is you're feeling your abdomen going in and going out. And it's bringing your focus into the moment. But as you do that, what do you notice happens with your stomach? And what anxiety was there? What's happened now? For me, I can feel a release of tension in my stomach. I can feel a relaxation in my body, a sense of calmness creeping in, but also bringing me into the moment again. So again, it takes you back to awareness be aware when you're anxious and when that anxiety creeps in, and notice the nature of the anxiety, what is causing it and what it is doing to your body, and then just do another activity like that. Something else which is really great, the batch flower remedies. I heard that, but there is one in particular called Rescue Remedy, and I used to use that a lot. As well as that brain gym activity, I would use the batch flower rescue remedy, and it's a mixture of the different flower remedies, and you can get it as a drops, or you can get it as a cream, or you can actually get it as lozenges, because I know my daughter's got it for or it's lozenges or chewing or something. I think it's lozenges, and my daughter's got it for my granddaughter, which has helped her with her anxiety when things have got too anxious for her. She just has those, and it just helps just to calm down. It really is amazing. And I've actually used Rescue Remedy. I've used it on my dog when I used to have a dog as well, when he's getting anxious. Just a few drops. It's perfectly safe, you know? So there are many things out there that can help you with anxiety. You don't need to sit in it. And I think that's the message that we're getting through here today. Again, it comes back to the choice is yours. Do you want to hold on to this anxiety, or do you want to let go of it? How would you really like to feel? And so, as mentioned, meditation, breathing, that breathing activity, batch flower remedies, aromatherapy, just essential oils, lavender. Lavender's a great one. My mum always had lavender. You could walk in the house, and you'd walk in the house, and it was there. And actually, that's why we've called the house Lavender Harmony House, because it's now we've created it as a serviced accommodation house in Swindon, and so it means that people can use it. It's just like having a hotel room, but it's a house. So it gets serviced, it gets a cleaner every week, and the linen gets changed every week. And there's somebody that actually organises that and does the bookings for us. And so, yeah, we've called the house Lavender Harmony House. And the harmony bit came because my sister and I, we were having quite a few disagreements, to put it mildly, but as we were redecorating the house and putting it, because it needed a lot doing to it. But we created harmony through the arguments. We always came to a place of harmony. That was something we agreed on. We want to be in harmony and agree on something before we move forward with it. So hence the name Lavender Harmony House. That lavender, I always have lavender around. And actually lavender is something you can just put. You can put a few drops on your wrist and just have them there, behind your ears. And I always have some on a tissue that's in a pocket. And it just, you can smell it. It really is. It's a relaxing oil. So there's loads of things. And anything else that you can think of, Nomsa? You're muted.
We mentioned breathing, meditation, and what else? Music. Music does help. Playing music, it does help to release stress, and listening to it as well. If you want to learn a new instrument, you can learn it on YouTube. That thing that using your fingers, it relaxes you. And sometimes I see myself, like when I'm walking, sometimes if I feel really, really stressed, I always have my earphones in my phone. So I would just put the music, and when I'm playing the music, I listen to the music, I listen to the lyrics, and I basically draw that energy to my head, to my mind, basically, instead for basically as a massage, and it helps me. Mostly I use gospel music anyway, so you have to choose the lyrics, good lyrics that communicates with you as well. No boom 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 boom, whatever that is. Relaxing music is
Something a
good.
bit more.
Yeah, relaxing music is good for you. And breathing, we touch breathing, and I think writing to yourself, writing something to yourself, whatever you're going through that moment, it does help when you write something. I remember when I actually wanted to get rid of whatever was going on and holding me back, I wrote a book myself and finished the book, and I banned it.
You
And
burnt it. Wow.
yeah.
How did that feel once you burnt it?
If I could, I wrote
Yeah.
everything from my childhood, how my childhood was. I wrote everything down, and I found I contacted the basically the publisher, and I didn't go ahead with it. I wanted to do it basically properly. I found the publisher. When I found the publisher, I posted the hard copy to myself, and everything was like going like the process. I did the process properly, and when I finished, the decision was to ban that memory, and I banned the memory. And after I banned it, there were some things in my life where basically were bringing dark cloud in my life, and when I think about it now, I smile because it is a process that I went through, and it makes me happy. I don't feel anxiety about it anymore. I don't. It basically, I feel happy with every person that I cross path with. I know there is something that they contributed in my life. It makes me feel happy, and I'm grateful for that. But sometimes when you want to get rid of something, or something is making you unhappy, writing to yourself, because I was writing that book to myself. I wrote the book and finished it, 200 and something pages, and I banned it because I was writing it to myself. And I did actually write the end, how it's making me feel, writing that book, or how it's made me feel, and the relief that it made me feel. And it was amazing. So I think writing to yourself is a good therapy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was beautiful, and actually, it highlights the point that you wrote the book, you published the book, it was like it was going to be ready to go out, but you don't need to send it out there. You can
Yeah.
burn it. You can destroy it. You don't need to keep it. You do not need to send it out there, and that's great, because a lot of people think, oh, I'll write a book and it's got to go out there, but it doesn't need to, and that takes away. And it's something that Reed Tracy actually spoke about. He said if you want to write your memoirs, your story, it doesn't need to be published and sold. You can just decide, well, that's it. Put it away if you want to, or destroy it.
Yeah.
It's up to you what you want to do with it. But actually, the writing of it is very healing.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, I did a talk, how writing your story is writing your story is healing, is a healing process, and that had it's on a show with somebody. She was interviewing me, and that's actually going out on Monday. So I'm going to be interesting to listen to that back, because that was a few months ago that I had that conversation with her. Yeah, it was really great to have that conversation and to explore that. The fact that, writing your story is a healing process. So just that. So well done, Nomsa, for doing that. And,
yes, I basically, it's like when you're writing, because writing makes you focus. And when you focus, basically, it makes you realize actually when you actually somebody's put you through something, it makes you realize actually that person was actually going through something without you knowing. But if you don't focus on it, you'll be focusing on me. So it does help a lot, writing about what you're going through, about what you went through, because you are writing it in your own pace, and you can have a relationship with those characters in the book while you are writing it, and stop. If it makes you cry, you cry. And after you finish, makes you smile, you smile. When you finish, keep it or burn it. Me, I think I burned it this year, actually, 2021. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
so it took a while before you burnt it. You did it and kept it for a bit.
I wrote it 2009. I wrote it 2009.
Oh gosh!
And it's always been, but I removed it on my computer. I deleted it on my computer, and I kept the hard copy. Was sealed.
Yeah.
I went to the post office and I sent it to myself. I sealed it, put the address to myself, and I sent it to myself. And it was, I think, a few months ago when I was praying, and I realized that I'm no longer connected to that past anymore. So I needed to bend that past. So I bent it, and I felt good doing that. It really made me feel good, because all the characters that were in that book, I feel connected to them. And I just I love the fact that I cross path them, and there's so many things that I've learned there. But if I had focused on what went wrong or what went right, I would have experienced that experience. It's a beautiful experience when you write a book to yourself. There's some things that you can write. If I wanted to, I would have write it to other people. But I got it from Paul McKenna anyway, these ideas that you can do this, you can do this. So for me, I chose to write a book to myself.
Yeah.
And it helped me with my healing. So that's why it's very, very important to go for healing, to heal yourself.
Yeah. Because it helps actually get to some deeper reasons why the anxiety is there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're just not aware of, well, why am I being anxious about this?
Yeah.
You know what the trigger is. So sometimes it's worth actually to understand your anxiety and where it's coming from, is maybe make a note of it. And what are your thoughts that day? And so keep a diary of it, of all the times you're anxious. What are your thoughts? What's going on around you? What's happening? And notice if there's a pattern, because maybe there's something deeper that you're not aware of, and something can just trigger it. Because if you don't deal with the deeper root cause, then you'll still get triggers. And by writing your book, you've actually healed some deeper root causes there. And so you're less likely to get triggered and less likely to get anxious about things. So that's brilliant. And I found a quote I like here. It's, "Anxiety does not empty tomorrow of its sorrows, but only empties today of its strength." I really like that. Charles Spurgeon wrote that. So it's something to ponder on there. Anxiety does not empty tomorrow of its sorrows, but only empties today of its strength. Because you feel powerless and you're in that victim mode.
Yeah.
Stand up tall, take charge, and be the creator. I remember, this is another one I found here. It's, "Stress is an ignorant state. It believes that everything is an emergency Nothing is that important. And that's Natalie Goldberg. And that reading that reminds me, many, many years ago, before I had my children, I worked for a small group of engineers in the calculations department. And it wasn't pressure parts department. I was a calculations assistant there. And my boss, there was always an emergency. Today, we've got to get this done today. Run around, and we've got to get this done. You know, and it became a bit of a standing joke in a way, because the next day, something else would come in, and that was an emergency yesterday that didn't really get completed, got put aside, because all of a sudden there's another one. Oh, got to get to this, got to do this. You know, so is it really an emergency right now? Is it worth getting anxious about? Assess the situation, be aware, be in the moment, and clear the anxiety, because that will help you in more ways than one. You know, in about moving forward, and about your own health, and in about being able to, whatever is creating the anxiety, for you to get freedom from it, to be able to resolve what's happening for you. The solution will arise. And I'd just like to leave you with this one. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday, and all is well.
Yeah.
I love that. It just popped in my. It's one I haven't heard. You know, it's one I heard years ago, and I just remembered it. Oh gosh, yes. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday, and all is well.
And no matter what you're going through in life, never compare your life with anybody else, because there are no guarantees. And Gossip Talk Show says that there are no guarantees for tomorrow. So you don't know the journey of the other person, and you don't know, you know your journey, that what you're going through. So never compare your life with somebody else, because your life is an individual life, and it's unique. And if it brings stress, bring it on, deal with it, and just meditate and pray. I just pray to God. Sometimes I pray, and when I pray, I feel good when I'm praying, because if I don't have a solution to solve something, somebody will bring a solution. Just never compare your life with anyone. Never ever compare it. Just be as unique as possible and chase your dreams. If your dreams comes with the stress, it's success. Stress means success. Take some time out and be surrounded by the right people who comfort you, who basically encourage you, who basically play a big part and celebrate you, and you celebrate yourself. Learn to celebrate yourself. People seem to think it's bigger things that you have to celebrate. It's those simple things that you do every day that you have to celebrate you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Gossip Talk Shows. We are here Monday to Friday. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. If you're watching us talk, and please share, press some heart button, share some love with your loved ones. And if you are watching Gossip Talk Shows, I know we have audience that are watching Gossip Talk Shows. Please be part of the talk show by contributing your views, and just keep the conversation going. Don't just come and just listen. Just comment. Have a lovely weekend. Happy and love to you and Sean. Love you very much, guys. And God bless you.
God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you, everyone. Live